Hey, JMC 6000 for you with another car review in the chilly North Idaho winter. I'm in the polar vortex still. It's like 5 degrees out here. But before us, I have the Nissan Versa 2023 S edition. This has a particular package which we're going to go over here real quick, but we're not going to spend long out here because it is cold out here. But anyway, let's take a walk around. Of course, with the Nissan Versa, being that it's a $20,000 car and under, one of the cheapest cars in America, if you get the base with the 5-speed and everything else, you get halogen headlights, halogen turn signals, and halogen high beams. I really do like the way the front of this thing looks. This is a radar. It doesn't have radar cruise control, but this is a radar sensor for some of the safety features, and you got a camera up top there as well, because this has pedestrian warning, lane kind of centering. Anyway, so on the side here, we have 205 55 R16 with drum brakes in the back. Oh my goodness, it has drum brakes. But anyway, here's the back here. Of course, all incandescent, turn signal, brake light, and reverse light as well. A little frozen. I got some mats back here. Actually, pretty good sized trunk in here for what this is. And I believe you do get a spare. Look at that. That's nice. That's awesome. All right, let's close this up. You do get an LED third brake light up here. And then this is the side. Let's open the window sticker real quick before we go inside. It has a 1.6 liter, which we will look underneath the hood, CVT. And then you can see all the standard features, which is pretty cool that it comes with for this S model. This only has a few options. It does come with the S Plus package, which I think is necessary when you get the, if you have to get the Versa and you get the S model, get the S Plus package, which comes with the alloy rims, which comes with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, the 60/40 split rear seat, and of course the 16-inch alloys versus just having wheel covers. But let's check underneath the hood, and I'll explain to you the stats underneath this hood here. Again, we're not going to be long out here. My fingers are absolutely frozen. Underneath the hood, we have a 1.6 liter, 122 horsepower, 114 pound-feet of torque, 4-cylinder, again, hooked up to Nissan's Xtronic CVT. This powertrain is actually pretty decent powertrain, and I'll go over more of that when I go into my driving portion. But it actually puts out pretty good numbers. And then, of course, fuel mileage is 40 on the highway and 32 in the city with 35 combined rating. When you're driving in the cold and you're on the highway, you're going to get about low 30s. That's just going to be the honest thing. All right, let's hop inside. And let's kind of... Oh, I'm so sorry.
Oh. We'll just lift that out of the way.
All right. Well, I got this on loan from Wendo Nissan. Appreciate Wendo Nissan over in Spokane. We're going to get some heat going in here. Oh, man, that's awesome. All right, so kind of go through the interior real quick before I go into my driving portion. But one of the things I wanted to say about this car as I'm trying to recover from, oh, it's 3 degrees outside. Wow, it's cold. One of the things I wanted to say, so this is actually, I did the Mitsubishi Mirage last week, and this truly, from everything I've read, this is supposed to be the cheapest car in America, where it's a little over almost $17,000 if you get the base Versa S trim without the S Plus package, and you can still get a 5-speed manual. You're looking at just under $17,000 for the Versa. Once you get the automatic, and you get a few more options like the S Plus, which I do recommend. You kind of go up in price. This particular car is right about $20,300 MSRP, so it's just a couple $100 more than the Mirage. And let me say this: this is a much substantial car than the Mitsubishi Mirage. Not only do we have a more powerful engine underneath the hood, but when you drive this vehicle, it feels like a traditional, regular, you know, just a compact sedan. It feels much more traditional. It feels much more substantial. And I would say if you're comparing this to the Mirage, get this every single day of the week. If you need a cheap, under $20,000 car, I would recommend the Nissan Versa over the Mitsubishi Mirage. Stay away from the Mirage at all possible, unless you like that quirky, weird styling and you want something that kind of feels like a go-kart around town, but that's about it. This one actually gets out of its own way. It kind of go over that in the driving portion, but it's a very much more substantial car. So let's kind of go over the interior of this Mitsubishi, of this Nissan Versa. So kind of a couple things. With the S Plus package, you do get this beautiful 7-inch touchscreen. It does have Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. You have to plug it in, of course, but it does come with those features, and it's actually not a bad touchscreen. You get AM, FM, you get some settings that you can kind of go in here. It's not bad for what it is. It's very basic, but at least it has. What's kind of sad is that you do not get this unless you get the S Plus package, or if you get the SV trim or the SR trim of the Versa. Anything below that, and you won't get this. You get more of a basic radio that doesn't even have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay. Now for the rest of this interior, we'll kind of go over here. Turn down my fan real quick. We'll kind of go over here. Now, the S package doesn't, even with the S Plus, doesn't have a lot of creature comforts outside of it. Does have power windows, power door locks. I don't even get a key fob with the S package. It's just a basic key that you have to start manually. I do have cruise control in here. I do get some radio functions on this side. The gauge cluster is pretty much a basic dial, 2-dial gauge cluster with a little LCD screen in the center. You can go through some different things, you know, miles, average fuel mileage. Anyway, some different things. You do have parking sensors. You do have alert for lane centering, traction control, collision mitigation, pedestrian with the camera and the sensor up front. This doesn't have adaptive cruise. You might be able to get adaptive cruise if you get the top of line SR trim. But when you get that high of a trim level, I would say just go for the Sentra. I mean, what makes this car worth it is if you're spending 20 or under for this vehicle. Anything above that, I would say go for the Sentra. But we'll go over a couple more interior things. Again, everything in this car is all hard plastic, hard plastic, hard plastic. I like how this kind of mimics stitching, but it's really rock hard. But even though it does kind of mimic some faux stitching there. Even the door panels on this S trim, all hard plastic. This is really hard and it's kind of rough feeling. But I do like the faux carbon fiber on the trim here and on the top of the shifter. I don't have an armrest though. I have nothing here. I don't know what's up with that, but at least the Mitsubishi had an armrest on the driver's side. I don't have anything here, so it's kind of a downgrade. Oh, I didn't go over my 3 likes and dislikes. All right, number 1 like has to be the styling. This blows the Mitsubishi and anything in the subcompact class away as far as styling. I love the baby Sentra / Ultimate looks this thing has. I think Nissan nailed it with the styling. Number 2 has to be the room. I mean, this is a subcompact car, but look in the back there. I mean, the room is actually pretty nice for this type of class, for this type of vehicle. I have to say, the room is actually really good. And my 3rd like is the powertrain. Now, I say that with a caveat because I appreciate the power, especially coming from the Mitsubishi. I appreciate the power. The CVT actually acts very well versus the CVT and the Mitsubishi, even though they're both owned under the same umbrella with Renault. But, you know, so I say that with caveat, but the 1.6 is actually fairly smooth, but man, it can get rough, groany, and grainy once you start getting on it, which I'll describe it more in the driving portion. So a few likes that I have with the Versa. Also, kind of a bonus thing, I kind of like the steering wheel. I like how it's flat bottom. It's a nice design, but it's not leather wrapped and it's kind of a hard urethane plastic. But I like the design of it. I like the way it looks. So it's actually getting pretty warm in here. All right, a few dislikes. Number 1, and of course it goes with the price of the vehicle and everything else, but man, the hard plastic interior is really, and I don't know, maybe in the other trims this is kind of padded, but of course in the S trim everything is just all hard plastic, even the door panels, and I wish I had an armrest. So that's my first dislike, is the amount of hard plastic, and I wish I had an armrest. Second dislike has to be that this screen is not standard. I think this should be standard even on the base S trim, for the vehicle that's under $17,000, this should be the standard screen. And it sucks that you have to get the S Plus trim or the S Plus trim package in order to get this screen. And of course, if you get the SV and if you get the SR version of the Versa, this comes as the standard head unit. And then finally, my third dislike has to be the just kind of no-frills basic gauge cluster that doesn't really give a lot of information. I wish this had the upper level gauge cluster, which you can get a half digital, half analog gauge cluster only in the higher trims. I believe it's only in the SR trim of the Versa. So that's my few likes. Couple bonus things, that the seats are actually comfortable. They're actually pretty nice compared to the Mitsubishi. And then again, the room in here and the radio actually sounds decent, especially this head unit. The radio actually has a decent sound to it. Anyway, that is my likes and dislikes. Kind of overall feeling about the Nissan Versa. I think it's a good car for what it is for under 20 grand. I think you can do, I think it does well for its class, for what it is. But if you happen to get the SV or get the SR trim, when you start going up in the price, like 21, 22, even pushing 23,000 for the SR trim with all the options, I would say start looking at the Sentra. Don't bypass this thing altogether and look at a Sentra SV trim, which is right around the same price as some of the higher trims of the Versa. The Sentra has a more substantial engine. With the SV trim of the Versa, you actually get standard adaptive cruise and some other nice functions and features, and a much nicer interior versus here in the Versa. So that's just my overall likes and dislikes. But for the sub 20,000 class, this right here is a nice vehicle. And again, this car is just a tick over 20 grand. I think with incentives and different things, zero discounts, you could probably get this under 20,000, and it's a much better vehicle than the Mitsubishi Mirage. And I think that's important. I would definitely recommend this over the Mirage if you're looking at a sub $20,000 vehicle here in the US. All right, let's go to the driving portion. I'll let you know how I feel about that and everything I have with the driving portion of this video. All right, behind the wheel of the 2023 Nissan Versa S with the S Plus package. And again, the powertrain of this is the 1.6 Nissan 4-cylinder. I forgot to mention that this engine is only port injected. It's not even direct injected. Only port injected. It has dual rear cam. I think it has twin independent variable cam timing, but that is it. This engine's kind of basic in how it is. But all right, got the cruise set somewhat at 55, and we're going to go up my traditional hill. And as I'm doing that, we're going to test out how this vehicle kind of performs going up this hill. And one of the things I wanted to say is, for the most part, unless you're really pushing it, this engine's actually pretty quiet. You really don't notice it in the background. And again, now this hill's starting to bite just a little bit, and we're going to start going up right about now, as you can see in the background. Beautiful day out here, just really cold. And I don't know if you can hear, it's starting to get up to 3 grand. What's nice about CVTs is they can actually kind of pick up the RPMs, bring it down without even going through gears, which is nice. Don't have that gear shock or shudder. But it's pulling up just fine, right about 3,300 RPMs right now. No drama, no fuss. You can barely even hear the engine in the background. It's pretty smooth. Once I get up to the top of this hill, I'll get on it just so I can let you guys hear what it sounds like and how rough and kind of rough it is. So, as we're doing it right now, almost at the top of the hill, still pushing about 3 grand. Let me go ahead and get on it right now. Here we go. It's not too bad. There we go. All right. Got up to about 80, so it's not bad. Let me get out of low. All right, so there we go. So other than that, fuel mileage is all right. Again, you know, traveling around in this vehicle, let me get a better view for you guys. So sorry about that. traveling around. It's kind of low 30s. Nothing really to write home about. Yeah. But other than that, it's a pretty good driving vehicle. One of the things I will say is the suspension in this vehicle is kind of rough. I don't know if it's the tire pressure. I don't know what the tire pressure is in these. I haven't checked them, but I don't know if it's the tire pressure being as rough as it is, but it's kind of a little bit jarring and rough around road imperfections and different things. So it's not the smoothest of ride. I do think the Sentra gives a better ride quality than this one does, but again, the Nissan Sentra is a more substantial car. I would say it's on par with the ride quality I was getting out of the Mirage. So yes, even though this vehicle is a more substantial vehicle, it's a more bigger vehicle, it feels like a subcompact versus a go-kart that the Mitsubishi Mirage felt like. But I would say the ride is just on par with the Mirage, and it's, again, a little bit choppy, a little bit rough, but other than that, it corners real nice. I mean, this handles very well, and I'm pretty impressed with how the steering feel is and everything else about this vehicle. Again, the ride is a little rough. The interior could be a little bit more nicer, but I would have to step up the packages for that SV or SR. And I will say the powertrain is decent. Definitely better than what's in the Mirage. The CVT responds well. It has the faux shifting, but it's not overly offensive. Again, the only time you notice that this thing is rough is really when you're pushing it hard. The 1.6 kind of makes its presence known. But other than that, it's a pretty decent vehicle. All right, this is JMC 6000. Again, if you're looking for a vehicle that's under the sub 20,000 range, this is a good vehicle to get, and I would recommend it. Awesome. You guys be blessed. Have a wonderful day. Stay tuned for more videos that are coming. Again, I upload every single Wednesday and Saturday evening, Wednesday morning, Saturday evening, and appreciate you guys. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification for more videos, and we'll see you guys on the next one. But guys, be blessed. Thank you.